My father was an attorney, but he had lost his sight in World War II, so he was blind. And he began concentrating on music. He loved music. So when I was a kid, he kept taking us off to opera festivals where he would sing, and I grew up backstage. And some of my tolerance for or desire not to have movies based on dialogue was probably just seeing loads of, in effect, in operas in Italian where I didn't know what they were saying, but I knew what the story was. I could feel it. I could see it. If it was any good, I could see it and I could hear it. It felt right. So I went to Juilliard, which was a theater school in New York. And I gradually realized that theater was an avocation. It was a hobby, essentially, of wealthy people. And not being wealthy, I needed to find somehow to earn a living. So I began thinking about filmmaking. And filmmaking appealed to me a lot because it was a combination of aesthetics and engineering, which seemed to fit with my mind. So I left Juilliard and I went to an experimental college in New York State that only had 40 students. And they had quite a bit of money, and most of the students were spending too much time doing this. So I got to try anything I wanted. There was plenty of money to work with, and I just kept making movies. Little movies, tiny movies. And I also did a major in anthropology, which it actually is so close to movies. You look at people and try to understand what the fuck are they doing, which is simply reverse engineering behavior to try to reproduce it on film. You see what I mean? It's the same activity. My father used to take me along when he would interview someone. And he'd ask them a lot of questions and talk and whatever, and he'd just have me sit there. And then afterwards, he would ask me what they looked like when they said certain things. And in effect, he asked me to supply visual information about their characters and about what they had said. It wasn't literally were they telling the truth or not, but when they said a certain thing, did I get a sense that there was more in it, or how did they behave? What did they do? What were they wearing? All sorts of things. So from an early age, I had spent a lot of time simply watching people and trying to understand what they were thinking. Then my then wife and I raised the money for a little feature film, which was not very good at all, but it was good enough to get us into the American Film Institute in Hollywood. And I spent almost 5 years there, but by the time I finished the grant film from them. And then I started writing to try to advance a career in directing, rather than going to lunch and telling people what a great guy I was. If I had something concrete that my agent could send, and eventually that worked. I got to do. That's where Nomads came from.